Hello, Plymouth River first graders. My name's Janice McPhillips, and I work at Holly Hill Farm in Cohasset. That's an organic vegetable, flower, and herb farm not too far away from here. I hope you've been maybe for a visit or to come to camp, so please come see us. But today I'm here at the Plymouth River School Garden. Look familiar? And I'm here all by myself. I have a mask with me just in case anybody comes by, but it's just me and my camera on a tripod, which is why I'm not wearing a mask. And I'm here today to talk to you about something very special that you're learning in your classrooms. I believe you've read a book called Sarah Morton's Day. Sarah Morton was a little girl who lived in Plimoth Plantation around the time when the settlers first came here, and her family had to do all the work to do the chores, to raise the animals, care for the plants, grow the food that they needed, help with the laundry, make clothing, mend clothing, so many chores. None of our modern conveniences existed back then. So if they wanted food, they had to grow it. They had to plant seeds, they had to cultivate them, and they had to take very good care of them, and they had to remember to save seeds so they could plant them the next year. They also took very good care of the soil where they grew their crops. So this is a garden bed made out of wood here at the Plymouth River School Garden. I don't think the Pilgrims would have made a raised bed out of wood. They probably just dug a trench in the ground and added to the soil. And they added a very important thing to the soil, to feed the soil, because they knew, like I said, they knew they were very dependent upon that soil to feed themselves. They didn't have a Stop and Shop or a fruit center or a big Y to go get groceries. If they wanted to eat, they had to grow the food. This garden is similar to a garden that you would have seen in Plimoth Plantation or other places where people of those times grew plants, in that it had soil. And in a garden like this, a family could grow tomatoes, potatoes, onions, carrots, celery, kale, garlic, so much more. Maybe you have a garden at home that produces food for you. These garden beds have not been producing food this year because it's COVID. But in other years, they've been very productive and produced lots of food, some of which winds up in the cafeteria on a special harvest day. So because it's going to be Thanksgiving, and because you're learning about Sarah Morton's Day, you guys will be coming out to the garden to do a very important activity in the garden. This is our way of saying thank you to the soil. Thank you for producing all of the food that we eat in our family. That's the way Sarah Morton's family thought. And so in the book, you might remember, she's doing the chores, she's collecting the eggs, and one of the things she does is she mucks the garden. Do you remember that? So in the book, I think mucking the garden is taking the manure from the animals. I think they had sheep and maybe cows, and she probably scooped that manure onto the garden, because that manure actually would help the soil in the garden be more fertile so that the garden could produce food for their family. So we're not going to scoop manure onto the garden bed today, but we are going to scoop something else that is really helpful to feed the soil over the winter, to thank the soil for producing all the food that a garden bed like this can produce. And that something is leaves. Leaves fall off the trees, they wind up on the ground. Some people rake them up and you might jump in a leaf pile, but a really good thing to do with leaves is to put them on a garden bed. It makes a nice carpet over the winter. Hopefully they won't all blow away, and the nutrients from the leaves slowly decompose into the soil and feed the soil. So that's what you're going to do. You're going to say thank you to the soil that grows food, just like Sarah Morton would have done. Here are some leaves. They're nice and wet from all the rain. I'm just going to spread them out. Keep them inside the garden bed. Cover the weeds that are here. They will sit here all winter long, and they will really, really help the soil in the garden. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for helping the soil in the garden. Bye-bye now.